Hello, and welcome to episode 37 of the Tech Team Podcast, where Black excellence and tech meets. I'm Janita.
I'm C. Jones.
Oh, Ricks. Like, share, subscribe.
Y'all doing a great job so far. We see the numbers going up. Continue. Thank you. We'll keep coming to and doing this for you guys.
It is very encouraging. All right, guys, per usual, how's the week going? How you feeling? How you moving?
Well, I just got back from playing golf, so I'm looking a little...
I'm surprised you didn't wear green to St. Patty's Day.
Oh, should have. Damn, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Darn it.
Dang,
I didn't think about it either.
I wasn't thinking about
Jesus.
Yo, I used to go around pitching people growing up for real.
Oh, my God.
I don't know, bro.
I didn't playing that.
Yeah.
All right, we got to do better.
Yeah, I mean... Well, never mind. Let me keep my comments to myself.
I mean, that ain't...
Listen. Well, weren't you a little Irish?
I am. I am 7% Scottish. Yes.
That's
Shout out to
hilarious.
Ancestry.com. Got my 7% Scottish. So I'm 10% Danish. So, yeah, my white great-great-granddad.
Okay.
Who was a whore, but we ain't gonna talk about him.
I mean...
Sorry, Mama. I know we know he a hoe. Everybody knew he was a hoe.
Dang. We don't have to have that on
It could have been
episode.
slave master. It could have been worse.
Dang, you right. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I'm feeling good. You know, just back in the swing of things. Got back from London a little not too long ago.
Meet me in London.
So,
Hey, we in London. Let's go.
Working. In it? Bruv is actually my favorite.
Bruv. I love bruv.
But yeah, so today we're gonna have a little debate.
Yes, sir.
A little debate
Get the
back and forth. So listen, we talked a little bit, a few episodes about like just what decade you could travel back to and how we don't necessarily have unlimited time to choose from. But then also last episode with us talking about, you know, generations underneath us, it got us kind of talking loosely. We were like, once we start talking about something, we know it has to be a pod about who had it harder, Gen Z or millennials.
And we are all millennials, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I think.
But we don't agree. We're not on the same page.
No.
So high level, right? Millennials, we all are like, well, we survived 9/11. We had recession, student loan debt, and Gen Z is like, well, we grew up chaos, pandemic, climate anxiety, and algorithm overload. And so while we do not support doing a trauma Olympics, that's not the goal of this. The goal of this is not to say for real who had it worse, but just a healthy back and forth to kind of get the landscape of like, all right, who really is faring a little worse, if we will, or had a higher hill to climb. How about we say that?
Yeah. And I think it's well, before we get into it, right? Every generation has had it harder than the next, right? So what I'm saying is, I had to listen to my parents. I'm saying everybody had that debate with their parents or their uncles, right? Grandparents. Oh, when I was a kid,
my day, I was walking 10 feet of snow, 10 miles to school.
They had to ride a horse and carrots in a bus stop, like, you know. So we get it. So we're just having some fun with this today. So, you know, we love everybody. We love Gen Z, love Gen X, Y.
But these clips about to go crazy. We know. We know.
Let's get it.
All right. So we kind of broke this down into
Wait, so where does everyone stand?
Oh,
we didn't even talk about where. Who do you think had it harder?
Millennials.
Okay,
I'm saying Gen Z has had it harder.
I'm saying millennials as well.
Okay, so two against one.
Right here.
We're right here. There we go.
See what happens.
Always get outvoted. Trust me. This is nothing new. Nothing new.
All right, so we decided to kind of break this into different ways to have an even balance, right? So we're also not all over the place. So we have world events, economic realities, tech distractions, mental health pressures, and then just overall cultural chaos.
Okay.
All right, so let's break this. Ding, ding, ding. Round one.
Here we go.
Global and world events.
Okay.
So millennials versus Gen Z. So who do we want to start with? Do we want to give this first round to start to us? Millennials?
So I'll start since we stay on world events,
All
right?
right.
So
Okay.
I think most recently, right, something that everybody dealt with was COVID and the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So millennials never grew up. We never had a pandemic, right? So
Correct.
with
As
Z,
in our childhood.
in our childhood, right, in our childhood, yes.
Because we experienced
I was
that.
gonna say, everybody experienced it.
So
It's in our list of events.
So I said Gen Z being hit with a whole pandemic, they went through lockdown. So they had remote schooling. They were social isolation from their peers. They missed big events, let's say games, proms, no graduations. Right. So imagine graduating or going to 9th grade and you don't go to school you're at home for the first year or whatever, right? So
or imagine you're a senior and you had all these plans for your senior year and you stuck at home.
Well, and also just a little caveat. let's just to paint the picture correctly, which we should have done before. Gen Z today is 14 to 29 years old.
Right now.
Right now.
And millennials are 30 to 45.
Okay.
So also, not all Gen Z had missed a graduation. Not all Gen Z missed a something. So just to put it in context, some people were just in elementary school and missed going into school for. I'm not saying that it's not a big deal.
No,
I'm just saying let's not group the entire generation.
Gotcha. I was making another point to that. I think even with the elementary kids, right? They're 14 now. Again, that's a lot of development that was lost too.
1,000%.
So that's my last.
I know some of them weren't learning how to read. Teachers were having like third graders come in and they couldn't read.
If Johnny had 5 apples.
That's still one of the funniest things.
They were skipping tests, so no more ACT or SAT. Anybody can get to school. That might be a little easier path right to school.
Well, you just
that's easier. That's easier for them. Okay.
Yeah, that's easier, but is that helping them? That's probably hurting them in the long run, though. So that's my. I'll let you guys go, but.
We ain't gonna talk about standardized testing and how it's impacting our Black community.
But we're talking about anxiety. Sheesh. Okay. So our biggest thing, if we want to say that happened, well, one of them, I guess it was all of them. So something that I think goes under the radar is the fact that, like, just in the sense of global standards, right? We even knew a time, which I'm always curious, like, is it better to know hope and have it taken away or never know hope at all, right? Because that to me is like the global landscape of the two generations, where we had a time where Columbine hadn't happened yet, where 9/11 hadn't happened yet, and these things weren't even fathomable in our minds. And then when we were kids, Columbine happened.
Yeah.
It was never a thought. School shootings weren't a thing. That didn't even exist.
Right? Yeah.
So to me, a little bit of it, now, of course, again, we're not doing Trauma Olympics, but a lot of my stance is we knew a life without it that we're never getting back. That a lot of some of this stuff is like things that were promised that didn't happen, right? So 9/11, of course, most millennials were actually children or teenagers. No one was an adult during that. So you're actually having something in your formative years break the view of what the world was, Then you have the wars, Iran and Afghanistan wars. So a lot of those kids, their parents were actually, Iraq.
Because we're in the war.
I was thinking about
right
today.
Now, today.
Yes,
so we got
today.
third war we
Exactly. But Iraq and Afghanistan. So you have a large generation of people whose parents were lost or gone for a considerable amount of time. So a bit of the opposite of like these kids were trapped in the house with their parents for some time while people were losing their family members, loved ones. It was also the longest war in U.S. history, which doesn't go documented, I think, publicly. So you're talking about an extended time with that. Then, like I said, school shootings, Columbine in 1999 was, again, most of the millennials were aware of what was going on at that time. So we're not even talking about anybody technically being out of school. So that fear that starts really young, right? Because even with our kids, it's not to say that they don't have the drills and things like that. But for us, it was like, this can happen? Like, people are doing this?
Yeah, we had tornado drills, fire drills.
Shooting drills.
Exactly.
We had active shooter drills today.
Exactly. And then the 2008 financial crisis, so while it might not, this is kind of where I guess I would pair, it's not exactly the same, but something similar to the pandemic, where we can't say all millennials had a hard time, because we chatted about this. Like, I was just starting college in 2008, so I wasn't necessarily getting out in that climate, but there's still at least, like, we'll call it 5 to 7 years of people who came out of school with nothing, where we're just talking we're talking about kids who maybe didn't have the same college experience, but they weren't coming out to nothing.
So there was a couple of points in there, and I'll work my way backwards. Even with the 2008 financial housing market crash, people, we graduated into a recession, but I feel like the youth unemployment was near 15-19% then. the youth unemployment rate now is actually 25%, right? Because they're dealing with AI and everything else. So yes, we had hiring freezes, but it wasn't jobs being taken away. So they stopped hiring versus just taking things away. And that's why I feel like it's harder today than it is for us back then at that time.
A little bit. The entry-level jobs, though, vanished during that time of the recession. So they actually, it's a stat that, yes, U.S. unemployment hit 10%. Youth unemployment was significantly higher than the 10%, which I think was at 15 you were talking about. But also because of that, entry-level jobs vanished in our time and not. So kind of that same thing where AI is now permanently, right, taking it off the table. We were getting hit because they were actually keeping a lot of their higher workforce because we didn't have technology at that time to say, hey, we can have something supplement these cheaper
I don't know
costs.
if I would say vanish. I just think because it forced those of us in the 08, 09, we went to grad school.
To accumulate more debt.
People took, no, not necessarily. In some cases, yes, but in our cases, no. But we went to grad school and kind of make more money, and we making more money than our peers did 2 years ago. Our peers were still getting jobs in places maybe that they didn't want. So there were still certain aspects they can go make money. Like people didn't just not work for 2 years. People were still working. They just didn't get a degree in their field or their major.
That was me. I graduated. I didn't go to grad school until 11.
But you working
I graduated in 07. And so I was interviewing while the economy was crashing. Right. And to your point, there were not a lot of jobs. Right. A lot of companies were only hiring 1, maybe 2 people when they used to were hiring 10, 12. Right. So the amount of job opportunities had lessened.
Right, but you were working.
I didn't get the job that I wanted, though. Yes. Okay.
See, that's the difference. I'm saying there's no jobs today. So big difference, bro.
Sure. I agree with you on that. There are no jobs versus less jobs.
Okay.
But it felt the same.
So this man worked the whole time, got his master's for free. And it was so hard for you back then.
Getting a little $39,000, $48,000 a year job.
Versus zero. People are being forced to stay at home, go back home.
Okay, you're right.
They get making real decisions not even to go to college right now for that reason.
Everybody, I told Charles he right. You get that one.
I don't know. I still can't move
no
off
jobs versus
if we're just talking jobs.
Just jobs,
yeah, jobs for sure.
Yeah, just for jobs.
But I still say like that childhood of knowing and actually having a dream stripped away from you is a different thing. Like having something actually shape your formative years to say all the things that I was told that would happen is not happening time after time after time after time. Like, again, it just felt like every couple of years is something else that is really knocking us back. And like, basically those shock events during your most formative years actually do have a longer term impact on your worldview than if you, as they say, grow up in chaos. Basically, the veil had already been lifted on the world for them, where we were a part of the veil lifting and having everything again, right? Even still to this day, we just talked about it. Like, what is the American dream?
Yeah.
Like, there was no one and no reason when we were, even 13, even after some of these events had happened, that it still wasn't. Yeah, but you can still get a house, you can get married, you can, and now everything's changed. You might not get married, you might not have a house, you may not even want kids because of the way the world is.
And I think that we think the millennials are worse because we went through the exact same thing they went through and more. That's how I look at it. We went through more than what they went through, plus what they went through.
We're still going through it. We're talking about
together,
but we said specifically childhood though. So we stay in that bucket, that bracket.
Did we say childhood?
That's how she started.
Well, I'm saying like
I thought it was just millennials and versus Gen Z in general.
We can't technically,
it's overlapping now.
Yeah, and we can't technically do the full thing just because we have at least what is that like? I mean, for some, it's a gap of like 2 years. But we'll say for the room, we have about 10 years more life that we can compare to. So if I were to still say, okay, if we go up until 29, right, the oldest, or we can even we can go to 25, right? If we say what happened to us in these world events to 25 versus what happened to them, you still only have the pandemic. That's your anchor. We got shootings that came out of nowhere. We got also the festival shootings, so like all these things.
I mean, the school shootings are one thing, but there's always been violence in schools, though, and that's going back to just blacks in general, right? So being burned down, I'm going back to just years in general. So like again, if you go back and actually like we're learning your history, or I'm sorry, just learning American history in general. they've been attacking kids in schools since
For
the
sure, but we're
1900s.
going outside of the confines.
Oh, no.
of this
But what I'm saying is, but for
discussion.
me, like, yeah, a school shooting happened, but it was like, it was the first one that was kind of like nationally televised, I would say, but it was always violence, though. So to your point, I agree.
Well, it was the first one televised because it was the first mass school shooting.
Yep.
That's the point here. Is yes, there have been incidents, but no one had come into a school and shot 2 digits worth of people.
And for us, that was very traumatic. I'm not speaking for Gen Z, but for them, that's a way of life, honestly. There's mass school shootings every week.
Well, and they're trained again.
Yeah.
Again, while you're never prepared. Yeah. So I don't even actually want to finish the sentence, but they're aware it could happen.
Right.
Where that also sparked the thought of unfortunate people who had never thought about doing that. Where now it's like, oh, you can.
We had bomb threats.
But has one actually ever happened? No.
Hey, either way.
It's a thought, though.
But either way, you put something in our camp. We had bomb threats too.
We grew with bomb threats.
I'm joking. All right.
We grew with George W. Bush.
Yes.
That was my next point too. So let's go to politics.
Well, no, economic reality, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. So we can kick it off this time. So of course, like we said, we graduated. Actually, do you want to take anything? I'm so sorry. I'm rambling. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay. So we had the record student loan debt. It exploded during the millennial years because that's why I was saying, yes, it worked out really well for you. I know a lot of people who it did not work out well for, where they ended up going to grad school, and now whether it was based on their decision of what they went to grad school for or not, but it still was, hey, you can't find a job, just keep learning, and you'll definitely find something after you learn that will make you money. So the biggest thing for my group, and then let me pause, was everybody ended up going to law school. And that was so interesting. Everybody ended up.
I never connected that with that.
Everybody went to law school, so that's why everybody has a lawyer friend. But also, what's interesting is still after law school, which I mean, I guess you don't know until you know. But like so many people were like, I don't want to read this much. Like, or
I didn't go to law school. I wanted to be a lawyer.
I don't want to do all this stuff.
I was a business lawyer.
Yeah, but
I said you gotta read what?
And like the entry level to being a successful lawyer, right? So you look at lawyers and you're thinking the people who have already made partner, right? Or people who are on track to make partner, and negate realizing like, wait, I have to do how many hours?
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying student
loan, record student loan debt.
What were you about to say?
I was going to say, to your point, where they weren't getting jobs, they took unpaid internships.
That was
a thing. That's not
unpaid
a thing.
internships thrived because companies could exploit desperation.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an unpaid. Well, there is, but it's not the same.
Okay.
So there's that. Homeownership rates.
Wait. We're talking about economic impact.
No, but at least let me.
You want to go one by one?
Yeah, because it's too many places. So I'm gonna go work my way backwards. Okay. So at least we had unpaid internships. They don't have any internships at all right now. That's my point. And then two,
not true. I have some coming up this summer.
And then two, we're talking about we were starting that generation of high student loan debt, but it's even higher now.
If they go to school.
We're not saying if, but what I'm saying is it's higher now. If you do, it is higher now than what we were faced with 15 years ago. So that's my 2 points. That was it.
It's definitely higher now.
It's higher, but they also have a very normalized and true path line to being successful right in front of them without going to college. We did not have Gen Z.
And they have successful? And they have resources out there. Wazoo. I couldn't apply to 1,000 scholarships with one app then.
I mean, you have to think about it, right? Most of the billionaires now didn't graduate college.
But what I'm saying, they have an app that you just submit one and you get 1,000 applications out. I had to apply for every single scholarship I got
by writing.
I did.
Yeah. So again, you could put them out there. I don't mean you want to get it.
Yeah, it's just
so again, quality over quantity.
Fair enough.
And they can apply to 100 different colleges too at the same time. In an app, one app.
So
they actually can.
Yeah,
and it's permitted.
So
though.
I'm just saying it's easy. It might cost more, but it's a lot easier to get money, and it's a lot easier to get in to the schools than we had.
Yeah, because you got to pay for it with the student loan debt. School is a business. Let's just remember that.
1,000%.
Let's remember that. Because they can get into it. I can get into DeVry. So what?
We all can.
I see DC.
I can get into the ride.
I see DC college. Like, are you serious? Come on, man. All right.
Well, either way,
So what was
we
the next
still
one?
had the record student loans.
Unpaid internships?
No, I didn't want you to go.
Okay.
So you about to go somewhere else.
So
we were talking about the
we
home
also had
ownership.
wage stagnation with our home ownership.
Yeah.
So something that's a little different now is we were coming out getting paid 20 grand, 30 grand a year.
Who?
No, well, maybe not you. Again, your path was different. I got paid $35,000 at my first.
Still topic.
So
Engineering degree over here. Like.
All right, whatever, dude. So basically, that was very different.
Yeah.
Very, very different. And we actually saw the ripple effects of that continually because the cost of living ended up skyrocketing while we were still on the old school version, where for sure now, yes, jobs might be limited, but they can come out and make 65. There's no one making 35 at a corporate job anymore.
Out of undergrad.
Wait. So I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying out of undergrad.
Ooh. Siri's talking to me.
So we're talking about home ownership, right? So how old were you when you bought your first house? Oh, I'm sorry.
20. I'm an outlier because I was 25.
No.
I was married.
You're a millennial. I'm asking you a question.
I was 25.
How old were you when you bought your first house?
27.
Okay, and I was 28.
Okay.
Right. So we're all that. These Gen Z can't buy a house at all right now. So even though you were making a certain amount of money at that time, you were able to buy a house within 5 years after graduating, 6 years after graduating. They
Double income though. I was married.
Yeah, I was married.
I'm just saying.
It even matters. But y'all can afford one. There's people still married, still
because there
probably
were
struggling.
2 of us.
Yeah. We were dinks doing income,
right,
no kids.
But either way, again, people are banking on their parents dying or leaving them some type of money or inheritance to buy a house nowadays. The housing market is so increased. It's going so high. People can't even afford homes.
I mean, but to be fair, let me also say this.
Yeah.
I think we would need to also take some experience outside of us because I also have a lot of other friends that have never owned a home.
Right. So
that are our age. Right.
Right.
I think we also, we have to acknowledge we're speaking from a place of privilege.
So again, I used to get on people all the time when I first moved to Atlanta because again, I used to think $165 for a 3-bedroom town was so expensive. And I'm going around, I'm talking to people and we had friends. We was traveling so much. I'm like, why are we all in apartments paying $14 a month for 1 bedroom or $18 for a 2-bedroom? Like, why not just go get out some Buckhead and just buy a big, huge house, 5-bedroom house, right? So again, you're paying the money that you would be paying for a mortgage. So my mortgage was cheaper, and I did an FHA loan, so I was 3.5% down. So I saved a couple of checks and I bought a house. So again, there were a lot of people that I knew who chose not to buy a house as well.
Yeah.
So that was my argument to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fair.
So we had options to buy a house, right?
Okay.
Again, today they don't have any options.
What you
plenty
got?
of options. There's a lot of houses available. They can't afford them. There are tons of houses available.
If you want to go to Macon, for $50,000, sure.
Hey, that's their choice.
Listen,
like you said, we all got choices.
Listen, we all have
they gotta
choices.
be near their jobs, though.
All right, what's yours for the Gen Z so we can get going?
No, so it was everything that you guys brought up was around the economic piece was they can't afford a home ownership.
Yep.
They don't have jobs. You're talking about internship. They don't have anything to do besides go to YouTube University, let y'all tell it. All the opportunities
LinkedIn Learning, let you tell it.
No, y'all just say some
Go
opportunities
get you
out
a
there.
little MacBook thing, create you some AI agents. That's what I'm learning on TikTok right now.
They got AI. We had AI.
Because again, that's why I say it's hard for them because we had things to do. We had paths to go places. That's why.
They got a little zigzag.
They have the table at this point.
Listen, they might have this one.
Because they entered the workforce during the pandemic. A lot of them did, which was I wasn't as trash as we felt in 07, 08, 09.
No, actually, it wasn't trash. Let's also be clear. We were at an economic high during the pandemic.
Exactly.
So actually, they came out making a lot of money, had a lot of opportunities because our hiring went through the roof.
And they're the first ones out now.
I mean, so are we. That's the name of the
No.
That's the name of the game. We ain't have nothing.
Yeah, I think that the amount of layoffs and things that are happening now, they're literally, people are in the
But that's not
market.
Exclusive to Gen Z, though, is what I'm saying.
That's true.
That's not exclusive
the boomers
to them.
That's
why I was saying, like,
29,
layoffs.
I think, but 14 29, I feel like if they're 14 29 now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're then comparing layoffs to not having a job. You know what I mean? So it's more like oranges to clementines. Like we both had it.
But I'm saying, again, but us going in there, being able to buy houses, having the money early in the stock market to, again, take advantage of the pandemic as well. They didn't have any money to take advantage of it.
Now, listen, there are some things that we
take advantage of the housing collapse either. We ain't had no money to take care of
we
that.
bought houses right after it.
The fact that somebody I know still has the opportunity to collect a pension, that is probably the only thing that I will say is probably the whole, at least a little bit of an economic advantage for millennials over Gen Zs, for sure.
Oh, I didn't even know I had a pension when I left my last company. I was like, wait, y'all giving me a check for what? They were like, you've been having a pension the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, Lord. It was another 50,000 that I didn't even
know
I had.
Y'all make some really good points here. I did want to pivot a little bit here because it does deal with the economic piece of it, but it's, you know, we had a chance to look for hope and change. We had a chance to vote for our first black president, see him for 8 years.
That'll always make us
got
superior.
this orange man in the office
Twice.
They
got him twice.
That's hard.
We win on that. On presidents? Well, we had George W. Well, we had Bill Clinton, too.
No.
In our lifetime.
I'm not going to lie. If we going to compare presidents, we never win.
We never
who had it harder?
Worse.
Because we still had, even though it was George Bush and Bill and even Obama, right? He wasn't perfect, but it was a good thing for black people to see.
Right.
We still had people who still understood the decorum of being a politician and what it meant to have some level of decorum at that office and still put the presentation of like, hey, I'm running a country. I should be well-spoken. I should be mindful of what I say. It doesn't mean everybody has to agree, but let's actually have some structure. That just doesn't exist.
Exactly. So it's harder for them. They don't see that. They don't know what a politician is. You can go be a pedophile, or you can be whatever you want to, and
a felon,
and be
multiple felons,
multiple felons, clear pedophile.
All right, we're gonna switch. Next,
but anyway,
all
right. So
digital piece,
technology.
Technology, yes.
So I want to start this.
We talked about this last episode a little bit too, right? How we had MySpace, we had Black Planet, we were early Facebook adopters, millennials.
So my whole thing about this is why I say Gen Z has it harder. I just thought we had it so easy. We didn't have any technology distractions. Right, our distractions was a Sega, a TV. That was it, right? But we wanted to be outside. We wanted to be around our friends. We were going to the parks, riding on bikes. So that for us is mental health, physical health, so many different things, right? But nowadays, again, they grow up with nothing but distractions in the palm of their hand.
Yeah.
So that was my take on that.
I say, just to that point, like we adapted to tech. To your point, right? It was brought into our lives. Gen Z, their whole life is shaped by tech. Like they're the first, the first algorithm raised generation, which that wasn't even a thing for us. We didn't even heard the word algorithm when we were growing up.
Not outside of high level math.
Exactly. Right.
So, that was it.
Yeah.
But what I will say too is I think what's interesting. So Gen Z definitely is caught in the spiral of like what I said I think rings true of like, I don't know if they're the most desired generation when it comes to tech and how it's influenced them. Yeah. But what I will say back to that thought of education, they do still have the ability to learn AI, where I think we talked about it quite a few pods ago. Millennials actually have the most impact on losing jobs because of AI, because we basically are now behind the bucket on having that brain agility, the ability to do those things, to learn. And so it's just a different type of thing that we're facing. But I definitely say for influence, and even our last topic, I give this to Gen Zs because it's a rough one. It's a rough one.
The most we had to do is we were forced outside as kids, right? That was tough. And I bought a Love the Summer. One thing we really dealt with, in my opinion, because again, I say Gen Z had it harder, is, being outside with the heat. We had a couple of summers with some heat strokes and people died. And
I know just
we still had to go to practice. We still had to go to practice. That's how much they were like, no. They hit us some more water breaks and hit us with ammonia, and that was it.
Yeah. So what are some of our closing thoughts?
Well, I would say, again, in the trauma Olympics, no one wins, okay? No one wins. Yeah. We all got it hard. And I pray, right, that the hope is always in the next generation to come. So what I'm praying is that for the next generation, who will also be afforded with having a lot more empathy for mental health, a lot more empathy on, understanding social pressures. I do think that is the one thing that maybe in my mind tips millennials over the scale, is just, we had to endure a bit more, but we gave the gift to generations to come to be very aware of mental pressures and how to also take care of yourself, even amidst some of these tech and world and economic struggles.
Yeah. I look at it as the real question isn't who had it worse. It's how do we all adapt to this?
Right.
How do we overcome all of this? Because I think we came out okay.
Yes.
Millennials. Gen Z, I'm praying for y'all because I hope y'all come out okay.
They'll make it. They're also in their struggle years. 20 to 30s is just a time warp of the time. Yes, I have faith.
So we'll have another conversation 10 years from now and see how y'all adapt.
Right.
Learn your history, learn from your parents and your grandparents, and have your stories with them, and have your stories with the next generation. So I'm looking forward to hearing all the Gen Z, Gen A, Gen Beta in about 50, 60 years and see what they went through and grew up with. So it's an evolving conversation.
1000%.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
I won.
All right.
All right.